Welcome to the open book where Raj Shekhar opens his heart and mind. We need to come together. This is blog 13 of 15 in the series, The Ignored Crisis, dealing with various aspects of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. On a cool September morning in Kochi, the sun rose gently over Marine Drive. By the water, more than 200 people gathered. They wore simple purple ribbons. Some carried placards. One read, "It takes a village to remember." This wasn't a race. There were no medals. No finish line. It was a memory walk, organized during World Alzheimer's Month by Alzheimer's and Related Disorders Society of India. Among the walkers were caregivers who hadn't slept properly the night before. Doctors and nurses who watch memory fade every day. College students walking alongside priests, social workers, Rotarians, and teenagers from a nearby school. Some walked in silence. Others talked about parents and grandparents. About forgetting names. About fear. About love that refuses to give up. Each person carried more than a ribbon. They carried a story. Someone they cared for. Someone they had lost. Or someone they feared they might one day become. Dementia is no longer rare. It is no longer hidden. And yet, most people remain undiagnosed. And even fewer are supported in any structured way. Why individual effort is no longer enough. For most families, dementia begins quietly. A forgotten appointment. A misplaced wallet. A sudden change in mood. Families manage. They adjust. They explain it away. But dementia doesn't stay small. Across the world, nearly 3/4 of countries still have no national dementia plan. In India, despite pockets of innovation, care remains fragmented. For many countries, there is no roadmap. So, more than 80% of dementia care happens at home, untrained, unsupported, unpaid. Hospitals treat crises, not long journeys. Insurance policies exclude dementia. Welfare schemes are confusing or hard to access. Families move from doctor to doctor, service to service, often discovering help only after a breakdown. Globally, dementia already costs the world over $1.3 trillion a year, and that number is rising fast. But most of that cost isn't paid by governments. Families pay it. Through lost income, burnout, isolation, and silence. This is what Alzheimer's Disease International calls the implementation gap. The space between knowing what must be done and actually doing it. Dementia doesn't need more heroism. It needs systems. Families, NGOs, and employers, a new circle of care. Families will always be the heart of care. Love cannot be outsourced. But love alone is not enough. When caregiving becomes a 24-hour role, caregivers lose sleep, income, health, identity. Many say the same thing. I stopped being a person and became a function. The caregivers need education, respite services, trained home aides, and a few hours of relief. These are not luxuries. They are infrastructure. NGOs often become the bridges when systems fall apart. Across India, organizations like ARDSI, Help Age India, Nightingale's Medical Trust, Dementia Friends India, and the Dementia India Alliance step in with helplines, mobile screening camps, caregiver training, and advocacy. In some cities, Rotary clubs partner with dementia organizations to run memory cafes, elder walks, and community conversations. And then there are employers, the silent stakeholders. More and more employees in their 40s and 50s are juggling full-time jobs and full-time caregiving. They take hospital calls during meetings. They arrive exhausted. They worry constantly. Caregiving stress costs companies millions of dollars each year through absenteeism, attrition, and lost productivity. Some organizations are beginning to respond with flexible work hours, counseling services, elder care support embedded in health benefits, manager sensitization. When workplaces adapt, caregivers don't have to choose between livelihood and love. Faith and local communities, where stigma softens. When systems fail, people turn to what they know. Temples, mosques, churches, gurdwaras. In Thiruvananthapuram, temple volunteers visit homebound elders. In Hyderabad, mosque committees help with medical costs. In Kochi, church halls host caregiver meetings. Small acts, huge impact. Faith leaders shape attitudes in ways policy documents never can. When dementia is spoken about from the pulpit, stigma loosens. Cognitive decline is no longer seen as shameful, but as part of the human journey. Media and storytelling, changing the inner narrative. Facts inform. Stories transform. For too long, dementia was either invisible or portrayed only as a tragedy. That is changing. Films, books, podcasts, and personal stories now show dementia with dignity, tenderness, humor, and love. Serious movies are part of this shift. These are not films about disease. They are films about relationships, about memory and identity, about the invisible labor of caregiving, about what happens when love has to relearn itself every day. Cinema has a unique power. It can place caregivers, families, doctors, and policymakers in the same emotional space, something no report or statistic can do. When a caregiver's exhaustion is seen on screen, it becomes harder to dismiss. When dementia is portrayed with dignity, fear begins to soften. When stories reach living rooms, conversations begin, around dinner tables, in offices, in classrooms. Media, film, podcasts, books, they don't just reflect society. They quietly reshape it. And when storytelling leads with empathy, stigma loosens its grip. Media plays a critical role here. Sensitive reporting. Helpline numbers on air. School campaigns are amplified through radio and television. On digital platforms, caregivers share daily moments. Doctors explain symptoms. Podcasts explore prevention, resilience, and hope. When stories circulate, silence breaks. And when silence breaks, stigma fades. From silos to systems. Dementia sits at the intersection of health, labor, housing, education, and social justice. That makes collaboration difficult. It also makes it essential. Healthcare systems can integrate simple memory screening into routine checkups. Institutions such as the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences and the All India Institute of Medical Sciences have already piloted such models. Schools can foster intergenerational empathy. Social welfare systems can simplify access to disability benefits. Technology can support safety and independence, if designed around real caregiver needs. Collaboration is not about control. It is about coordination. A blueprint for a dementia-inclusive society. 5 actions can move us from intention to impact. 1. A national dementia strategy, aligned with the WHO Public Health Framework. 2. Dementia-friendly workplaces. 3. Community anchors, local memory support zones. 4. Public education, starting in schools. 5. Inclusive research, reflecting India's diversity. None of this requires miracles. It requires commitment. Together, we remember. As the memory walk at Marine Drive came to an end, purple balloons rose into the sky. School children sang softly. Caregivers stood shoulder to shoulder with strangers who no longer felt like strangers. And in that moment, something became clear. Dementia care is not just a medical issue. It is a societal mirror. Medicines may slow the disease. Lifestyle changes may delay it. But no medicine can replace kindness. And no policy can substitute community. We need to come together. Not as isolated sectors, but as a living ecosystem of care. Families anchor love. NGOs extend reach. Employers offer flexibility. Faith groups nurture belonging. Media shapes understanding. Governments ensure dignity and access. We all know the saying, "It takes a village to raise a child." Today, we add another truth. It takes a village to remember. Because memory is not only what the brain holds. It is also what a society chooses not to forget. Please read the blog for more details. Join me next Thursday for blog 14, which will address the policy imperative, designing India's national dementia blueprint. Thanks for joining me on the Open Book.